Alrighty, hello, Peyton. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, and I know I'm frozen on your screen, so please don't mind me. Hopefully, it adjusts itself here. But I know that we've been having some great conversations, in the back line here. But I would love for us to continue that, if you don't mind.
No
Um,
worries.
and tell me a little bit about your professional experience.
So I graduated back in 2020 from Largo High School here in Largo. Since then, basically a lot of customer-based roles. I started with working part-time at a Montessori when I was in high school, moved to a full-time position. And then from there, the money just wasn't right for me, needed to move to more quote unquote adult roles, I would say. And just a lot of customer service based experience. Most recently, I had been living in Venice, and that's where just a lot of the most recent experiences come from with learning sales and client relations.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that introduction as well, Peyton. You said it best. You've been working in customer service like positions. Most recently, you've been working with or working with Venice Print Center as a sales manager. So if you don't mind, tell me a little bit about what your day-to-day looked like at that role.
So day to day, we would work in a CRM. I would oversee a lot of our apparel production because that's where most of my experience was coming from. However, I got to learn a plethora of different, printing services and ways we kind of move different parts. I would work directly with our production manager, making sure and overseeing the jobs and just making sure the workflow moves properly. Other than that, just working inside our CRM to push jobs through and make sure they're hitting their different, categories as needed. Other than that, helping clients at the counter, assisting them with what they need in their different jobs. I mean, there's just so many different things that can be printed, and also helping clients on the phone. Going back and back with different emails. And just kind of overseeing projects.
Yeah, absolutely. So with Venice Print Center, was that more to because you mentioned over the counter? Were you there? Were you the front facing, I would say customer service rep or the sales manager? Were you the first person customer see when they walk in? And tell me about that.
Right, right. So we did have a few different customer service reps. However, I worked directly with them, and more often than not, I would be the first person to help at the counter. Or if I hadn't, if someone else was to go to the counter and start helping and they had a bit of an issue, they would usually come to me and I would come and assist them at the counter.
Amazing. So you're familiar with dealing with, kind of being, I would say more or less that first point of contact that customers are speaking to, who you greet them as well in the system, with that sale nonetheless.
Right.
Were you also answering phones? I heard you say emails, but answering
Yeah,
calls?
yeah. A large portion of my day was answering and responding to people through emails, but as well, sometimes we would take different days on the phones just to make sure we're not getting overfilled with workflow. But a lot of the times, I would end up answering the phones and talking to the clients.
Beautiful. And thank you for that insight as well. One of the main reasons why I wanted you to touch base on that is because I do believe that you would have an easy transition with a, office assistant slash
Right.
receptionist role because more or less you were doing a lot of the movements, the multitasking, the prioritizing your tasks. So I do feel like you have a lot of those transferable skills, which is great.
Right.
I want to touch base a little bit as well on some systems that you have used in the past or just you're simply familiar with using. Would you mind telling me a few systems?
So our most recent system that we used was called Zoho, and that was our CRM. It's pretty well known. Actually, I've recently started seeing commercials for it, which I was kind of shocked by. Um, Other than that, we used a lot of Outlook. We used Adobe. That was more of our graphics design side, and then we also would use different product placement apps like
Mhm.
ESP or ASI. And those were just a few of our different systems that we would use.
Amazing. And it sounds like you're very, familiar with a lot of different tools and systems. So it sounds like you're fairly adaptable to any, new systems that you may encounter.
Right.
Um, Also, I want to ask a little bit about your skills with Excel. Are you comfortable with using Excel, or tell me what that looks like?
Yeah, I'm definitely comfortable with using Excel. We did use a lot of different, like I said, we used Outlook, so we were definitely Microsoft based rather than Google. So I should have no issue with using that. We used it a lot, um, back in my senior year of high school as well. So I have a little bit of experience.
Beautiful. And we're not asking you to do anything crazy at the site. No pivot tables, formulas, just a simple spreadsheet.
Right.
So
No worries.
I'm sure you won't have no issues with that. Yeah. And then to kind of wrap up the interview here, two last questions for you. As far as, any time that you'll be requesting off, do you need to take any time off in the next 30 days or so?
I mean, we discussed the July 6th start date, which would
Yes.
work perfect with me. I did have a business conference meeting that I wanted to go see in Denver, and that would be from the 10th to the 15th. This was something I had just placed months in advance. And so that would be the only time I would really need to request off.
Perfect. So I would definitely add that as well to the summary I send over to our client. So I appreciate that insight on, the few days you'll need off. And then to wrap it up here, as far as last question, I know that you mentioned, let's see, the 6th is going to be an okay time for you. So you're comfortable more or less starting for, a few days and then coming back to that after your time off.
Of course.
Sounds amazing. Well, Peyton, I want to go ahead and stop the interview here. I appreciate all the details you were able to give me. But if you don't mind, stay with me in the line really quickly. I want to chat with you.
Sure. No worries. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely.